in top 8, hopefully with John. But for right now, it looks like we have our players ready for this round 14 here in our day 2 of Swiss. And it's going to be a big one for sure. Yep, we got Kid Starck on the left versus Tord Reklev on the right. We were talking about Tord already, but now we finally get to see him in action yet again.
Yeah, I believe this is what, number 9 and 10 on the standings list right now. Obviously, on the outside looking in, and a great opportunity here for these players. Taking a look at Kid Starck to start things off. Of course, a big member of Azul's testing group. I'm sure he doesn't want to just be known as just that. He's an amazing player in his own right. But that leads into the deck choice. That is going to be the Regigigas.
For sure. And I think Tord kind of heard you talking a little smack about that Lost Box deck, saying it was better than Giratina, because Tord is on that Lost Box. It is all about those Comfey and Sableye finishing off with a Radiant Charizard.
Prove me wrong, Tord. Yep, this is going to be a fun one. A lot of single prize Pokemon. I do not see a single V in either list.
We're in for a long one, folks. Get that water, make sure you're well hydrated, get a little snack. And
you got snacks?
No, you know, you got to at least try.
All right, I'm down for some snacks. We'll see how things progress here. Excited to see Kid on the stage once more. Playing the Regigigas. It's going to be a list that features the 3 Regigigas and 2 of all of the other ones. No fancy Drago coming in this time around, and a lot of consistency features here. We see the 4 Marnie, which is potentially a great counter in this matchup right now, as we know that Lost Zone Toolbox can potentially run into some issues when it has a small hand.
Yeah, looking at the list though, 1 Boss's Orders might be a little standout from the usual, and might come into play here, but again, no big Pokemon V or 2 prizer to chase down, and with Tord, consistency is king. There's just a lot of 4-ofs in this list, and that's pretty much it.
Well, my eyes are on the 2-of. I see a double Manaphy, and that's exactly what you need to do. Show your respect to the king. Manaphy is going to be a pivotal card here in this matchup, as the Regieleki is certainly something you need to watch out for. 40 damage to multiple Pokemon on your bench over and over again means you are going to lose. So, Manaphy, come on out.
Players taking a look at their openings hands here. Looks like both, with Force promotes that active.
I respect it.
Oh, it looks like we do have a mulligan here. So Tord taking a look at what cards are in the deck. Like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm playing against Regigigas.
If you couldn't figure out that was Regigigas, then there's certainly an issue.
Well, there was no Regis. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, or else he would have played the hands, Jeremy. Well, some cards that we will not see too impactful in this game. Of course, the Regigigas deck is featured on that choice belt, helping out with so much of the math. Feature, of course, you're trying to knock out the likes of Palkia, V-Star, working in some attacks on an Arceus, potentially with a Big Charm, and the Mew VMAX has been a big Pokemon to target with the Choice Belt. So we see 3 of those featured in the list. Going to be completely useless this time around.
Hey, I mean, you're right.
They got us this far, you know? You just show them some love, maybe attach them to a Regirock, make them feel happy. I'm sure Registeel doesn't see it too often.
Get to hold the pants up for sure.
Yeah, get an accessory. This is a beautiful time to show off. Show your fashion sense.
Does look like both of our players have their opening hands. Now we can try to go take a look at the prize cards. I think Tord's actually debating about getting the 1 mulligan card. And ops. Oh yeah, we gotta play the prizes first.
Whew. That would have been something. Well, Tord's favorite Pokemon, Oranguru, in the prize cards this time around. Just a single Regieleki for Kid. Not going to be too much of an issue here.
Yeah, prizes don't look too bad. The 1 Cross Switcher and Clara, but you know, sometimes with this Lost Box deck, you're going to be flower selecting a lot, and you know, if you have 2 of those cards that are very important on the top 2, you're going to have to decide between one of them. So maybe having that cross switcher in the prizes just to pick up later, it's a little bit safer.
Sounds good to me. We are underway here in round number 14. Tord Reklev going to be starting things off with that Comfey, the best starter in the deck, and a Fog Crystal, one of our favorite cards in any Psychic deck, with the versatility to find that basic Psychic Pokemon or energy.
And Tord playing a full 4 copies in this list really wants to get those Comfey as early as possible, while also having that ability to grab that Sableye or the energy to Lost Mine once you hit that sweet number of 10 in the Lost Zone.
Yep. Looking for the keys to success here. Certainly going to be that Comfey. Having multiple of these Pokemon and cycling back and forth by way of infinite switching effects and scoop up nets, as it always seems to feel like, is going to be a great way to find success here. You need to get that Lost Zone nice and beefy so that you can start doing some interesting things with your additional attacking Pokemon.
Yeah, walking through some of the games throughout this weekend, Tord has always been one of the players to have just basically half of their deck in the Lost Zone. And you can see here with the way that this deck is built, it's really all about that. And you see another Fog Crystal finding the 3rd Comfey here. And, you know, Tord selecting a lot of flowers. Maybe has a big date coming up.
Yeah, Comfey is certainly going to continue to flower select, it looks like, multiple times with just one of the most strong abilities for a deck like this, being able to manipulate the Lost Zone and use that to your advantage. It feels like a detriment at times when you continue to just throw away some of your cards, but you don't need these resources early on, and just the fact that they're in the Lost Zone for you forever, that's going to be very helpful.
Well, we already got a tough decision here. Clara and Cramorant are the 2, and Cram going into the Lost Zone. The Clara, that's the 1 left in the deck after the 1 being prized, so pretty important.
Yep, it's going to be nice to have an opportunity to find some of your additional Pokemon that hit the discard pile. We know that Radiant Charizard loves to make its way back out.
Well, here is the 2nd flower selecting of the turn. Marnie goes to the Lost Zone, Air Balloon to the hand. That means you're going to be able to retreat into another Comfey here, and flower selecting yet again. You also see Switch Cart in the hand, so plenty of ways for Tord to just recycle these flower selectings here. And well, Path to the Peak on the top, that's not going to be useful against a Regigigas deck.
Is this a way to switch Comfey out of the active? If it's not, throw it away. Psychic Energy is a beneficial card. You can see Tord already marking the flower selecting Comfeys for us with all of those coins. He's not going to flip 5 of them for us. No, he's going to just throw them onto his Comfey, continue to flower selecting, and to get the Lost Zone now to its 4th card.
Yeah, 4 cards already, picks up the Sableye, so hopefully next turn maybe even get that 10th card, thanks to in combination of something like a Colress's Experiment.
Well, we already see the Colress's Experiment in hand. Cramorant down. That will be able to attack on the following turn.
Yeah, can't attack turn 1. Tord wishes.
That'd be a lot of pressure. I'm not down for that. Registeel already has plenty to worry about looking at this initial opener here from Kid. From Tord. Now it's Kid's turn. And we see a lot of good cards in this hand. This could definitely be a pop-off turn here. Trekking Shoes to start things off. Finds it a Regieleki.
Yeah, the big thing is going to be finding the right energy in the discard. If you do get all 6 of those Regi Pokemon in play, you can use that Ancient Wisdom and attach 3 energy to any one of those Pokemon. And like you said, that Terraspark with Regieleki is going to be the best attack right now, especially with no Manaphy on Tord's side of the board.
Yeah, was not able to find the Manaphy. Lightning Energy are also some of the easier ones to find. You have the additional out of the Speed Lightning Energy as an option to help you instead of just finding those Aurora energies and really banking on those as finding the specific energy that you need. Wow. Yeah, this is such a great hand. You see the Ultra Ball with the capture and the Hisuian Heavy. The Hisuian Heavy not as impactful. We know that it is just the Regieleki. Kid may have already diagnosed that from this initial search.
Yeah, looking at the hand though, there's not much way to get out of the active spot here. Really is going to want to use Dragon's Horde to be able to draw until you have 4 cards, especially when you have, close to 0 in hand.
Yeah, you're right. There was no way to actually move this Pokemon, so you're not going to have the Dragon's Horde. You do see the capture energy, so we're going to see all of the Regis, but no hand to follow up.
Yeah, you can Ancient Wisdom the gift energy back onto the Registeel, but Tord's deck isn't really going to take prizes like that often.
I don't think Tord's taking that gift. That's a
Yeah.
that's a Trojan horse. We're not going for that.
And yeah, this is just a Regi Gate, I believe, getting that Regi Rock. Or that was off the capture.
Yeah, I think we went capture and then gate, so that should just be the turn. And Kid's just shaking his head, saying, "Where'd my hand go? This actually looked okay, but there was just nothing else to follow up."
All right, the second cross switcher found for Tord here. Does have a Colress's Experiment to start things off with this turn. You also can flower selecting, but Colress, get to see a little bit more cards.
Yep, makes sense here. Not going to be able to manipulate anything from the deck, so might as well just take a look at the most cards before you go into some smaller options. I see Battle VIP Pass. Goodbye.
Yeah, there is 3 ways to get Comfey out of the active spot. Might as well.
That is what we're talking about here. And I think the game definitely takes on new form when you're looking at a 0-card hand. You can decide how the damage goes at this stage. And if you can get 10 Pokemon in, or just 10 cards into that lost zone, Sableye can do plenty of work spreading damage counters, and then really just trying to wipe multiple Pokemon off the board at the same time can make this awkward for Kid. If you're not taking knockouts directly, then he doesn't refill with the Regigate.
Such an awkward flower selecting here for Tord. It was a Colress's Experiment, and that Manaphy.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you love Colress's Experiment, it looks like 10 is a reasonable number to hit this turn with the amount of switching effects that we see here.
Oh, and why not just find another one off the top for next turn?
That's going to be nice.
Do also have access to the switch cart. But I think with enough of those kind of effects in hand, you want to save that Colress's Experiment for next turn. Try to dig deeper and just get more resources built up.
Yep, that is number 8 into the lost zone. We are keeping tally there right under Tord's face. Escape
Rope, the first selection for Tord here.
Kid says, is this a bait? Should I send up Draco?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's rough. You also have to worry about maybe another Escape Rope coming down from Tord. We know that switch cart's there, so a little unlucky sequence of events for Kid. Wow, another Colress's Experiment off of this flower selection. That's 3 in a row.
Yeah, that's the beautiful full art. I'm going to pick up some of those as soon as we are done with this tournament.
100%. One of the most gorgeous cards.
Never sad to see that off the top here. That puts Tord to lucky number 9. And we are 1 Comfey away. Going to see that retreat for the turn, and down goes Comfey.
Right. Path to the Peak is the card you can get rid of. Get that Lost Vacuum. Lost Vacuum also has ability to get extra cards in the Lost Zone, but I think with this, that is that 10th card. And that now means Lost Mine should be active. If not, the Lost Vacuum is enough to put the air balloon.
No, I think we are at that 10th right now, and that's going to be plenty. Just looking for the last switching effect, going to use the switch cart to do just that. Lost Mine, and this is where we get a real taste for how Tord wants to play this matchup. With the 0-card hand, there's certainly potential to mix things up a little bit here. And obviously, one of those big factors right now, that Regidrago is one way to potentially draw out of an awkward situation. So maybe wants to focus down on that Pokemon specifically. This deck also doesn't do anything if Regigigas is gone.
Yeah, you also have to kind of play around the possibility of a scoop up net off the top of the deck, being able to just blink that damage for the turn. Now, with your opponent at 0 cards in hand, you have a little bit more leeway, but with the way Kid has built his deck, there's a lot of potential outs here for Professor Research, for Marnie. And yeah, I think this is the play where you just soften up all of them. You know, you want to be able to take a knockout with Cramorant if needed.
He said, give me 13 turns or you guys are in for it. Yep, almost looked like some TCG online inputs with the singular clicks, but we do see the most of that going to the Drago there.
And this is where not bringing up the Regidrago from the escape rope is going to hurt really bad here. You can Ancient Wisdom the gift energy on, but that's not going to help. And with a Path to the Peak drawn for Kid, just passes the turn back now toward plenty of cards in hand. Is going to have a lot to work with, and you know, he could just lost mine again. Well, why not?
Yeah, I mean, it was a double level basically. Kid just thought that the only way that this could happen potentially is you're not actually going to allow me to use this Drago, right? And I thought that the second rope was coming. It never came, and now we see one of the heavier retreaters, that Gigas just stuck in the act of 5 energies to attack and do anything relevant, and the damage is going to start flying. Not taking any chances of the top deck of the scoop up net here. Going to remove the Drago, and then I think we're going to see a little more spreading this time.
Has access to 5 more damage counters. 4 came down on that Regidrago for the KO. 3 on the active, 5 on that Regilucky. Trekking Shoes off the top. And Speed Lightning energy kept. We'll have to see what it is.
Oh boy. I think we see the Reggie requirement?
Oh, no, just 2
the wrong ones?
Reggies off the top. You already have those in play. He just has to pass the turn back yet again. And this Sableye has gone digging and will just continue to find treasure and finds the win here for Tord in game 1, round 14. Both these players are at 31 match points, I believe. And so a win here puts him at 34 with the potential ID next round.
Yeah, you can see that 10-2-1 record, and that is a phenomenal accomplishment in its own right to take 10 match wins already. Things not done just yet for Kid there. You see an early loss, but of course only took about 13 minutes. Not going to be too terrible. Plenty of time for 2 games, and that's something that we don't typically get to say when you're playing with these single prize Pokemon decks. It takes a lot of time, but at least that one went pretty quick.
Well, when one player doesn't get to attack, you know.
Play.
Yeah. Usually the goal is to try to have Tord not play Pokemon. That's the way you can beat Tord Reklev. But here, it was kind of the opposite.
Yeah, he figured out the optimal strategy that everyone tries to implore on him. It worked out fairly well. Kid going to be looking for a new addition to the TCG called a supporter. It is a card that you get to use once per turn, and it helps get through your deck.
Yeah, that would be pretty beneficial. You play a lot of those. Not looking for that boss's orders supporter. That doesn't help you get through the deck at all.
Well, that's why you only play one, you know?
That's true, that's true.
And if he only draws that one, then that one's on you.
I'll take it, yeah.
Okay. Well, quick shuffles. Both these players understand exactly the gravity of the situation here. Would love to see a lot of Pokemon this time around. Looks like Kid going to give us a little better showing.
Oh, I don't know with that head shake. Taking a look at the prizes here. A couple Regi Pokemon in the prizes, but you play 3 of those Regigigas and that Heavy Ball. Meanwhile,
that's a little awkward. Scoop 'em Net is one of the more optimal switching effects, if you may call it, for the Comfey, just because it resets that ability. So being able to use multiple of those early in the game really helps you get to that optimal point in your loss zone as early as the second turn.
Kid did have a boss's orders in hand for supporter, but to go along with that Professor's Research for next turn.
Whew. You got lucky, Jeremy. Quick ball on the Aurora Energy, a very optimal start here. Don't know if he's going to get to make use of anything else. Obviously, that supporter is going to be fantastic for next turn. Well, yeah, it looks like we do see another quick ball. One of my favorite arts. It doesn't even read the correct way. If you used quick ball in that fashion, you would be likely disqualified.
Being able to discard a card, search your deck for any basic Pokemon. Kid having already an Aurora energy to discard for the first one. You get that Regidrago in play, Regieleki, and you have that Speed Lightning in hand to be able to attach to that Regieleki and draw 2 cards from the top of your deck. Hopefully finding some more Pokemon. If not, you got that Professor's Research for next turn. The only downside would be drawing maybe more Ordinary Rod.
I think these are the 3 Regis that are searched out the most. Having the opportunity to make use of that Speed Lightning energy is so important. Obviously, the Gigas is the reason the deck works, and then the drawing from the Drago is so impactful. Of course, every other Regi has its opportunity to shine depending on matchups, but you get these 3 out and you're looking pretty good.
First flower selecting for Tord here. Ooh, finds a cross switcher, Comfey off the top. Comfey could be the card you really want here, although we do see the Fog Crystal in hand, but yep, Tord opts for that Comfey. And we didn't mention it too much because, you know, the scoop up nets in the prizes, but 2 Sableye to go along with that 4 Tord Reklev. Does play 3, so we'll have some sort of Lost Mine action going on. But no heavy ball here, so not able to really search those out. Is going to have to really rely on Clara to recycle those.
Yeah, this is why it's important to look through the deck as early as you can, because now Tord is going to have that information. If he was in an awkward situation where maybe this Comfey saw Sableye and Comfey to start things off, he may have selected Comfey and just not had access to a Sableye until he took any prize card. That could have been really awkward here. So now, going to download as much information as possible. Tord is one of the best at doing this in the TCG, and surely will understand how important it is to make use of that Sableye at an opportune time.
It definitely has Gigablast Internet for sure.
Shout out. Yeah, we see that one Sableye floating around in there. All 4 Comfey. I think you just need to usually work in 3, but we'll see.
Now with the air balloon on the active, that will allow that Comfey to retreat for free. You can now flower selecting from one of the new ones that Tord has found here. And continue with this dance. Flower selecting yet again. Battle VIP pass and Sableye. Oh no.
That's actually just the worst.
You have to throw away the pass.
Yep. That is so brutal. Every other situation where you see a Battle VIP pass, it's generally like turn 2, 3, 7, whatever. Turn 1 and you can't pick it, that is disgusting. But hey, we got all the Pokemon, we're fine.
Yeah, who needs to sneak through the lines, you know? We just got it straight up in the hand. That Manaphy is going to be pretty important there as well, protecting from the Regieleki and that Terra Spark.
Yeah, you can see a real debate here from Tord. Using the escape rope could certainly be awkward. That could allow access for Kid to get that Drago into the active and draw additional cards, or potentially free up this Regieleki to start attacking on the second turn. You want to make Kid use all those resources. We see now that Kid would likely have to use that scoop up net in hand and, you know, probably find a few more Pokemon.
Yeah, and finding a few more Pokemon, Kid did not. Is going to have to try to thin this hand down as much as he can. You do have that capture energy you can attach for 1 more, but that's the only Pokemon search in this hand. Otherwise, you're going to have to Dragon's Horde and maybe draw 2 cards off of it.
Yep, looked like 5 cards can be played from this hand. Picking up the Regigigas. Drago into the active now. And this is, I mean, I don't expect this to end in an attack. You're asking a lot of your deck at this point. It would have to probably be drawing into a Pokestop and really finding something, and I think we're going to see a stadium for this turn too.
There's actually no Pokestop.
Well, there you go. We're not going to run into that at all.
Yeah, Kid opting for the more disruptive version of this Regigigas deck with the Marnie and the heavy path to the peak. Now here we do see that capture energy on that Regigigas, finds the Regirock. And I think Kid will be able to thin the hand down to 3. 2 if you want to play down the other Regidrago, but that's never what you want to do.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. That is not ideal. One additional card likely here. Who wants a belt? Accessorize Regieleki.
Where do you even put the belt? Regieleki doesn't have legs.
Right? You know, that's a question for another day, Jeremy. Let's just go ahead and skip on over, see what Tord is thinking here. Just 2 in the loss zone this time around. A little bit slower of a start, but this deck can certainly go off. Great decision making here from Tord Reklev. Going to go with the path to the peak on the right.
Now we're going to see that escape rope finally going to bring up a Comfey, and that Regieleki maybe to the active, but you have to be worried. It's 120 HP, can be knocked out with a lost mine. Now a spit innocently from Cramorant. Won't be able to take the KO, but Kid opts to bring up that Regigigas. Flower selecting number 2 for Tord here. Going to get 4 in the loss zone now, and Air Balloon Fire Energy only plays a couple of those Fire Energy for that Radiant Charizard that we'll maybe see later on in the game. As the game progresses, that Excited Heart ability lowers the attack cost.
Yep, tough debate here. Obviously, making the most use of Comfeys is ideal, but just having that energy is some versatility that you can use. You can always use that to retreat at some point if you need to. Knowing where it is ideal, and if you get it into the discard pile, you'll always find it back with Clara at some point. So I suppose that is the slightly better card in this instance.
Colress's Experiment found off the top of the deck for the 3rd flower selecting. The last possible chance to find it as well. So now 5 cards in the lost zone. Colress is going to make it 7. And we're that much closer to having that lost mine active, most likely next turn.
Yep, for this turn, a Cramorant would have been ideal. I don't think we see access to that just yet. Finding the Fog Crystal and a Switch Cart. It looks like another Comfey. I don't need all those per se.
Yeah, it's quite funny how a lot of these Lost Box decks are built to where you take away a lot of that basic search. Tord playing the full 4 Fog Crystal here, but is opting for no Quick Ball, no Level Ball, no Ultra Ball. You're just relying on those Battle VIP Pass, and so Cramorant, you're really just going to have to find that off the top of the deck to get things going.
Come out wherever you are. Have not seen it just yet. Could lead to a little bit of a slower start here. Tord is going to opt for Comfey number 4. I think that just means we're going to see just a little more pushing through the deck here, but I don't expect it to lead to any relevant attack just yet.
Yep, 7 in the lost zone. These
7 into 8, and then the vacuum actually gets there if you remove the balloon.
Oh.
But I don't know if there's a way to get Sableye into the active spot.
Switch cart.
Oh, there's a switch cart.
And this is the playability of Lost Vacuum and its flexibility in the game. Being able to add that 2 additional cards to the Lost Zone. And usually you wouldn't want to like play a tool scrapper on your own tools most of the time, but here, perfectly fine. And there we see those last 2 cards to the Lost Zone. Lost Mine now active after a ton of abilities from Tord here, a full 4 flower selecting.
Yeah, discounted it early because we saw the option between the Colress's Experiment and the Lost Vacuum. Of course, had to take the Colress's Experiment, but then finds it off of the final Comfey to get the perfect math there to remove Regieleki from play. And that is one big threat down for Tord Reklev.
Also finding another Sableye from the prizes. This is where things start to get scary for Kid. You still haven't been able to get an attack off in this match, and You're going to have to Professor's research this hand away and just rely on the top 7 of the deck to try to piece together this Ancient Wisdom.
Yeah, this is often a spot that these Regigigas decks find themselves in, just having to throw away resources to try to put together the puzzle. We see Shoes, Ultra Ball, and multiple Aurora Energy. I think if the Trekking Shoes can help to find a Pokemon, not that Pokemon.
Oh, not Path to the Peak either.
Oh, I think this is a little short.
Yeah, you have the Capture Energy, you have the Ultra Ball, but no way to get that last Reggie Pokemon. And honestly, this is the kind of hand you want to discard with Professor's Research and hope to draw into the rest. Those are energy that you want in the discard.
I think we're going to see them in the discard, but not the way you want to. Ideally, you'd be able to start to use some of the ball search here, and I think we just see the one piece and the capture. And the capture is not even going to be played this turn because it's not going to result in all 6 Reggies in play.
Taking a quick look towards Lost Zone. Getting a survey of all the resources that are still left available for Tord. Finds that Reggie Ice.
This is where understanding exactly what's in the discard pile is going to be important. You need to try to avoid playing down some Reggies that you will need to search out with the Ordinary Rod at some point. So we are not going to see that Reggie Alecki until a turn where likely an attack is coming.
Also important to note that all of the Reggie Pokemon in play have 130 or more HP. That means a Lost Mine won't be able to take a quick knockout like Tord did on the previous turn.
Yep, great point. This is a situation, though, for Tord where I think his bench is going to stay awkward for a while. We mentioned that those prize cards were a little bit wonky. The double scoop-up net, I think we probably saw at least, well, we saw a lot of switching effects. I don't know if we've seen a scoop-up net just yet, but plenty of Comfy on the bench. And it puts a lot of pressure on this one Sableye to get things going.
Listen, Kyle, if anyone can handle pressure, it's Sableye. Those gems that it's munching on, those are hard, you know?
Pressure makes diamonds and gems, I think.
You know, we're scientists here. We're experimenting.
I actually left the coat in the hotel room.
Oh,
but we do see that fire energy we were talking about a little bit earlier. Just going to go down onto the Comfy, thinking about a retreat in the future if this Sableye were to fall. And down goes plenty of damage, just spreading the love and, of course, focusing on any way to get out of this awkward situation. Richie Drago going to take the grunt of that.
And you saw Tord preemptively attach that fire energy to the Comfy. That is just a way to guarantee a retreat for next turn, especially with your opponent playing so many Marnie. We're gonna see one of those here this turn most likely as well. So just trying to set up for next turn, especially with the bench of 4 Comfy Manaphy.
Yeah, this is one of the big dangers of playing the Regigigas deck, is that so often you're reliant on a very low amount of cards. The couple cards that you can find off of a Dragon's Horde, the 5 cards that you find off of Marnie, and you're asking for so much, and getting the right pieces at the right time. I feel like that just rarely happens, especially when we're on stream.
Well, here is that Marnie. Needs to find the Regieleki. Does.
Number 5. Big find there.
That means we'll be able to see an attack finally from Kid here. Granted, not with probably the attacker you really want, but with that Manaphy in play, you're kind of forced to.
Yep, of course. Important to note that the damage spread from Tord is going to be pretty crucial. Just softening up all these Pokemon for a knockout, either from the Sableye or from the Cramorant, means that when the one prize exchanges start to happen, Tord is certainly going to be able to cash in on an advantage. It just comes down to, will Tord have the resources in hand to continually find the energies that are needed for a Pokemon like Sableye? That's something that Kid doesn't always have to worry about, as he just pulls these energies back from the discard pile.
Well, speaking of Scoop Up Net, Tord found the other two.
Bravo.
Who would have thought when you Marnie your huge hand back into the deck, and the top cards will be the cards that you haven't seen all game.
Wow.
That's a pretty painful flower selecting here. Radiant Charizard to go along with the Colress's Experiment.
Oh, yeah, you can tell this is going to be a tough one. Obviously, Radiant Charizard, one of the strongest Pokemon in the deck. The damage output not necessarily relevant in a match like this, so Tord just needs to count and make sure that he has enough Pokemon to finish the game. And with no Cramorant used just yet, the Sableye, only the one in the discard, still believes that Radiant Charizard may be an important key to closing this game out.
Well, one thing that is going to be a little worrisome is how many Lost Vacuum that Tord has actually used. And, well, actually gets paid off for taking the Charizard here, finding the last Colress's Experiment, I believe.
Yeah, I think Tord has one more Vacuum left. We also saw Kid discard 2 Path to the Peak. So I don't know if we're going to see Radiant Charizard have to deal with any adversity in the late stages of the game.
And there is that Scoop Up Net, Comfey back to the hand. And now this bench that was full of just support Pokemon, now looking pretty empty for Tord here. Really able to cobble together a nice turn. And Oranguru going to the Lost Zone. Don't need you. Finding that Fog Crystal. That's a way to get an energy or a Sableye.
You will be missed, old friend.
Now we see that Colress's Experiment. Top 5 cards of the deck. You get to pick 3 to put in your hand, 2 into the Lost Zone. Couple energy, a Cross Switcher, Escape Rope. That Path to the Peak's definitely going for sure.
Yeah, it's just great to get through the deck at this point and try to thin down. You know that eventually the Marnies are going to start to fall, and when that happens, you need to make sure that all the resources in your deck are live. So having opportunities like this to never see a card like Path to the Peak seems pretty optimal. Energy is going to be a precious resource here, and then you can see Tord really having a debate between switching effects or that cross switcher. I think one cross switcher is already gone, so maybe just going to stick with a pair this time around and going to value that escape rope as a more valuable resource.
And with those energy in play, that means this Fog Crystal is able to get that Sableye from the deck. And yeah, you're looking at that deck, 1 Lost Vacuum left. That's going to be able to get rid of that Path to the Peak, turn on that Excited Heart from Charizard later on. Definitely going to be a card Tord is looking to eye down for the following turns.
It looks to be about 10 cards left in the deck. 2 Cramorant, 1 Lost Vacuum.
This is definitely the most we've seen Lost Zones for a while this weekend. 17 cards in towards Lost Zone.
We were getting close with the with Raymond's game on stream. I believe he was able to get to about 22. So Tord set a record for us, my friend.
Well, here is that Escape Rope. Has the option to bring up the Comfey, but we're going to definitely see that Sableye Lost Mine. Put a Reggie into the active spot that you don't really want to attack with, and with that Psychic on that Sableye, Lost Mine will be able to spread some damage. You could take the knockout on the Regigigas that has those energy already. You could take the knockout on the Regidrago. Either way, most likely going to be taking a knockout this turn.
Yeah, once more, it just comes down to if you believe that you're going to be attacking with a Sableye on the next turn. If it doesn't look terribly likely, then you want to set up for multiple Pokemon, every single Pokemon on the other side of the field to be knocked out by way of a Cramorant. So we could see just a damage spread that results in a Regidrago knockout, and then just a little bit of spread to the Steel. Could be something that Tord wants to focus on, and it looks like that is going to be the case. Just understanding that it is likely you'll see a Cramorant, and you don't want to just put pressure on that Clara to be your only answer.
Has 5 damage counters left. Going to choose 1 on the Gigas, 1 on the active Steel. And yeah, like you said, just softening up for that Cramorant. So now every Pokemon except for that Registeel would be able to be knocked out with Spit innocently. And you do get that knockout on the Regidrago, which is one of the more beneficial Regis in this deck with its Dragon's Horde ability.
Yeah, Tord with just a strong understanding of the matchup. You don't want to ever place an abundance of damage on just one Pokemon that doesn't end up in a knockout, because Scoop Up Net is obviously a big card for the Regi decks. So going to continue to just push that around, and Kid taking a look with that Hisuian Heavy Ball, trying to make sure that a Drago is on the menu.
Capture Energy is going to be able to do just that. As long as it's in the deck, you can find a basic Pokemon, and that basic Pokemon is going to be nothing. Oh, don't tell me.
Oh, okay. Well, we see multiple Gigas in hand. It looks like just a ton of Regi Pokemon.
No, it's not. It's in the discard.
Yeah, the Drago's not there.
Are we reaching for the chat box?
I am. Oh, this is rough.
Unable to have any sort of supporter to find these ordinary rods, just a fail of the search of the capture energy. This is huge.
When did the Draco hit the discard pile? Because Kid just completely lost track of that.
3 Regi Pokemon in hand, but not the Regi Drago needed for Ancient Wisdom. No way to get out of the active spot, and just a pass of the turn back. Tord is going to have this Sableye stick around for another turn. That means more Lost Mine damage coming down.
That is exactly what Tord wants in this situation. Now you can really start to pin specific Pokemon in this instance. Do you value the KO on the Regigigas, as it has so many energies, and it, of course, is the lifeline of the deck? Do you want to remove the Regieleki so that a top deck Speed Lightning energy doesn't assist in getting to an attack for Kid?
Tord going to start things off with that Clara, just bringing back that Sableye and Psychic energy. But you got to get it while you can, get it on the bench even, and this is just pulling a little too far ahead for Kid to really do much of anything now.
Yeah, often you see energies going to Radiant Charizard when it has time on the bench like this, as you can maybe pull off an additional attack. But Kid hasn't taken prize card. He's taken 1 prize card, and it looks like it's going to be very difficult to find an additional one. Tord just going to move in with the Lost Mine, and I think that he understands the situation perfectly. Regieleki certainly a threat here with a top deck Speed Lightning potentially on the mind, and now a little extra damage spread to these additional support Regis.
What is the top card? Just a Choice Belt. That's not going to do much of anything. And here we see kind of, I believe it was earlier on in this game, the Speed Lightning drew into 2 supporter cards for Kid turn 1. And then that forced the professor's research to discarding those extra resources. And we're seeing that here. You're running thin.
Yeah, as incredible a player as Kid is, there's just nothing you can really do in a situation like this. The cards aren't falling in the right order. You continually just find these awkward resources. It's not going to cut it here playing against Tord Reklev. Tord going to take the swift 2-0 victory here with the help of the Lost Zone and Sableye from the Lost Origin.
Really showing off the power of that Lost Mine attack. Once you hit that 10, that magic number for that Lost Zone, you're able to really just manipulate the board, get those damage anywhere you want, and just straight off pick those prizes. And we saw there just, that Regidrago not doing much of anything.
Yeah, what can you do? You're playing with the glass cannon there in the Regigigas deck, because it's so impressive when it works correctly, right? You can target down all of these weaknesses. Of course, when you're playing against these multi-prize Pokemon, these V Pokemon, the V Stars and Maxes, you can take big one-hit knockouts so often. But when you play against a single prize deck, that's when you really see the flaws in the Regigigas. It needs to have an impressive turn every single turn from at least turn 1 to 3. And then from there, you need to find ordinary rods. You need to continually chain these together. It's great with the gift energy, but when you have a deck that can spread damage, you can just see how important it is for Tord to understand that matchup. Just completely flooding different Pokemon, and really gave Kid no life.
Yeah, and the top of the deck wasn't really helping out Kid that much in that game. And in game one, Regigigas is a deck that really relies on that Ancient Wisdom, and when you're not able to use that, you're just really not able to attack. And we saw it there. There was, what, 1 Gigaton Hammer in that whole match?
Yeah, it was not about attacking for Kid. It was about survival, and even that wasn't on the agenda. It was way too difficult. You should think that when you're playing Regigigas, at least you get 4 Pokemon into play, and then maybe next turn you get the turn 2 attack, you get things rolling. He was trying to get 6 Pokemon onto the bench the entire match.
Yeah. Able to actually do it turn 1 with that Regigate in the game 1, but no energy.
Yeah.
You get one piece, but you're missing the other, and it's like when you buy a puzzle secondhand and it's already missing a piece.
There's yeah, when you have 0 hand, it looks cool. You got all of them in play. It's like, all right, we did it. Now what? Oh, I have to play the rest of the game. Yeah, having a hand probably helps, Jeremy.
Yeah, and hopefully, Kid, 31 match points. Maybe with another win might bubble, depending on how some of these ties shake up and how these players are playing in this round 14. But Tord, 34 match points, one maybe idea away from making it in, maybe playing it out in another win it in last round. But